What's up, Sifters? Welcome to GameFace 27 for reals this time. Well, we mean it. The show's recording, Tony. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And nothing's gonna go wrong. The show's gonna be all good, right?
Well, you can't. Don't say that. Never say that.
We do want to apologize for the first attempt at episode 27, which has now become the lost episode of GameFace, and hopefully the only one that will ever happen. We just had problems with our TriCaster. Crazy electronics. Sometimes they do crazy things. But we should be all good for this episode, and it's good to be back. How you feeling, Matt?
Pretty good. It's been a while.
Yeah, it feels like it has been a hot minute or two.
Busy day.
It's been a crazy day. And we want to thank you guys for hanging out, and for an extra hour. Usually we do the show at 6 Pacific, but we push it to 7 because today was a huge day in video games. Sony did its... unexpectedly did an amazing press conference today at Paris Games Week.
Like E3 Part 2.
It really was. It was pretty much up to scratch with their E3 press conference, I would say. Maybe a slight cut below, but they skipped Gamescom for this, and I think it's probably the right move. They have this show. I don't even know if it is a show. Or is it just people like walking around Paris like I don't know, saying, I love video games?
I was only half aware it was even happening.
I know it did happen last year, but like there was no news that came out of it. So
it wasn't anything.
Sony itself is kind of turning it into its own big event. And then Sony, of course, has its own event in Vegas in just like a month or two, which makes me wonder how big that event's going to be after they kind of spilled the beans today.
I don't know. Is the Paris thing open to the public?
I don't know. I really know nothing about this show at all.
I don't know. I've never had to pay attention to it before.
Exactly. That's why I was so pleasantly surprised by what happened today. It's like I was working, and I had the live stream kind of playing in the background, and I had it, we had it up on Sifted, and I was kind of looking at the comments people were leaving in the live stream, and so I just kind of put it in the background as like background noise. I had a bunch of stuff I was trying to get done. And after like 10 minutes in, I was like, wait a minute. Like, what is going on here? So I flipped it over and I just started watching it. And it was just like boom, 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 one thing after another. So we're going to talk about a ton of the stuff that they showed today. In addition to some other things. Obviously, the big news of the week for Sifted. Finally, after much talk, I unveiled the new show. The new show is Pachter Factor with Michael Pachter, exclusively on Sifted. Really excited about that. Shot the first round of episodes with him yesterday. They came out great. The first episode will debut this Saturday on Sifted. Spread the word, everybody. I know I'd asked you guys in the last episode we did to tweet and retweet and things like that. I think we got like 10 retweets.
Yeah, well. It was a lost episode.
Oh, yeah. I was definitely hoping for some more action. So when the show goes up this Saturday, it would be awesome if you guys could retweet that out to all your followers. Even if you have 5 followers, it doesn't matter. Every little bit helps when you're a small company like us. So, anything you can do to help push out Pachter to the masses, everyone's going to thank you for it anyway, because everyone's really excited for it. I was pleasantly surprised by the response to it. We did get like a little influx of subscribers already. And I'm sure once the show launches, it'll get even better. So really excited about that. I know Pachter's excited about it. It had been since April of last year since he had done a show. So
wow.
Yeah. It had been a while.
Starving for the Pachter.
Yeah, well, when he first left, like he had kind of put it out there that he was working on Pachter Factor. And here's an interesting anecdote about the show. When I first started talking to Pachter about it, I started talking to him seriously about it at E3. And actually the deal was kind of sealed at E3. And I've been talking about this new show since E3 to just let you know all the work that I put in to try to make this happen. And so we finally kind of consummated the deal at E3, and it's been like a process of like figuring out what the show is going to be. But anyway, we were trying to come up with a name for the show. And I was kind of like checked out for a little bit whenever he left GT, and I didn't see that he had already kind of promoted the show as Pachter Factor. And I came up with the show name Pack in Business. Because it's like a double entendre. It's like, he's back, but it also says, he works in the business side of games, and he just shot it down. He's like, no, the show's going to be called Pachter Factor. And I was like, why is he so hung up on that name? And I started, like, searching on Twitter, and I could see where he had left GT. He started promoting that name way back when. So
you gotta cruise the brand.
Yeah. So I relented, and I let Pachter choose the name of his show. I think it's still a good name.
That's good.
Yeah, so really excited about that. Again, any promotional help you guys can give us for that show will be greatly appreciated. And at the end of the day, the better Sifted does, the better it is for you guys as subscribers. So that's just more money we have to make the site better and bring in even more talent like we have with Pactor. So the more you support the site, the better it gets for everybody. So keep that in mind. One thing I do want to mention is I just got an email from Brent, who is the engineer who built Sifted, and the forums are ready for beta testing. So anybody who's watching this show archived on Sifted, if you're interested in beta testing the forums, just leave a comment in the show thread, and we'll get you into the beta. I took a quick look at them. They're pretty rough, so don't go in and expect them to be all polished and brand new. It's a beta, so we want you to get in and help us make it better and add stuff that you may want. They're pretty...
Get in there and break it.
Yeah, exactly. Go in and break it. Find stuff that we can fix and to make them better. I will say that they are already like crazy feature rich. They've been hand built from the ground up. They don't use like that same like generic like forums that you see on like NeoGAF, and like there's a hockey forum that I go to called HF Boards. Like tons of forums use that same kind. I think it's called V-Bulletin or whatever.
Yeah, V-Bulletin.
Yeah. It's not V-Bulletin. We literally built these just like Sifted from the ground up, custom. So Brent has his hands in it, and pretty much anything we tell him that we want to do to them, he can do it. So if you're interested in helping make the forums better, we can get you in on the beta. We can start working on them together. Obviously, the more people we have, the better they're going to be, and I'm sure you guys are kind of incentivized to do it anyway. So lots of stuff to talk about, and this is gonna be a long show already.
Yeah.
So let's just get
Buckle up.
Let's just get to the big six. All right, so most of the stuff we're going to talk about today, well, actually not even most, because we are going to talk about two really big games, one that came out last week and one that just came out today. But otherwise, most of the content is going to be around Sony's presser. But the first topic we're going to talk about is a game that was announced last week that I just thought was really cool, and it was a new idea, and I thought it might really generate some good discussion. And that game is called One Life. And so to explain to you kind of the gist of how it works is basically you get what the title says. You get one life in this game. It's a first-person shooter, and when you die, your account is basically done.
Yep.
You can't log in again. You can't play the game again. So, Matt, all the years we've been covering games and just playing and loving games, I've never seen anything like this. Do you think that this has a chance to succeed? It's $10, by the way. I should mention
$10.
that. It costs $10 per account.
I mean, like, it's not a, like, you look at the, like, if you look at, like, the pitch sheet, like, you know, the theoretical pitch sheet, it's not a bad idea. And there's a lot of ways you know, once you down someone, they're not necessarily dead. Like, you can, like, execute them if you want, or you can, like, make them your prisoner, you can, like, make them like a servant or something, you know, like basically, like, there's things you can do with a player that aren't just killing them, so maybe it won't, but I like, having played enough online competitive shooters in my time,
they're gonna kill you.
They're just going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, there's not. I mean, have you ever played DayZ? These people just want you dead.
Yeah.
These people just all want you dead.
And here's the thing too, like, do you want them to not kill you? Like, do you want to become a slave, or like, because the other part of it too is, I think there's like crafting and like you build vehicles and there's like a survival element to it.
You have like a bus. Like,
and you form clans and you roll around as a clan. I'm assuming wiping other people's accounts for fun.
Like, how do you even like form a clan? Like, that's like the most uneasy truce.
Think about it. You're riding around in your car and you're like, this guy sitting behind me right now could just pull out his gun and just cap me.
Or I'm riding behind you and I'm like, if he crashes, we all lose our games.
Yes. But see, that's why I brought this topic into the show, because it does bring up all kinds of interesting ideas that, like, I'm surprised a game has never done this before.
Kojima's original idea for Metal Gear Solid 2 was that. It was like a $5 disc you'd buy, and if you died, you had to buy again another one. That was his original pitch for Metal Gear Solid 2. And Konami was like, no. Like,
look, I can see with a disc-based game, no way.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah,
in a sense,
way ahead,
you know,
apparently,
like,
yeah.
Like, and can you just imagine, like, the people going in, like, all right, here's $50, give me, like, 10 lives. You
right.
know, like, I mean, some people are going to kind of cynically see this as sort of the natural end game of microtransactions. You know, it's like, oh, you don't get anything. It's like, here's, you know, pay us $5 and you can live again, kind of thing. But, like, at least it's introducing a different kind of conflict and tension to a video game. You know, it's like, sometimes you kind of worry, it's like, what if there's no more ideas? You know, and like, but now it's like, oh, I've never heard of that one before. Like, you know, I'm curious. Like, you've got my attention.
I'll play it.
Yeah.
Just to see, it's like a social experiment.
Now, do you know if you get killed, do you know, are you, like, banned from the game forever, or can you pay another $10?
No, you can pay and get another account. And that's sort of what I was thinking, is that, like, maybe the $10 is a little too high.
Maybe.
$10 per try is a lot when your fate is in the hands of, like, I mean, you know.
Yeah, like, this is some like, carny sideshow shit.
It's
like, you know, like, how big is the bottle you want me to get the ring around at this point? Yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, it's like, I guess it depends, like, if there's any kind of safeties in terms of, can some, like, I mean, because I think everybody has, like, DayZ in their head, or DayZ for the Europeans, where, like, you can spawn, and, like, it's dark, and you're naked, and you don't know what, and then someone runs over and kills you with a hammer or something, and that's it.
Yeah, it's
like,
over, yeah.
Like, hopefully it's not like those, like, weird, those survival, like...
But, I mean, there are survival elements to this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a survival-type game. It's... To me,
I can imagine it'll be awesome if you're one of the top players. Like it must be, being one of the top elite players in this game is probably going to feel really good.
But it's so easy to get killed.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can turn on you at any time. How do you trust anyone ever? I mean, how do you ever become, like, how do you ever survive more than, like, a couple days? Like, any first-person shooter you play, you die a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to get killed in a first-person shooter.
Like, there's probably people who think that about, like, America, though.
There are guns everywhere.
How do you make it through a day? I don't know.
Everyone's got guns. How do you not get killed every day?
Well, some people you're friends with and you drive a giant bus around. That's apparently the answer.
And you pray that they don't shoot you in the back of the head.
You never know.
Yeah. But to me, it's like... And I wouldn't be surprised if, one, it goes down to $5, which to me I think is
that would be a
sweet
more
spot.
Yeah, that's a more kind of impulse buy friendly.
And $1, I think they would make more money at $1.
$1 would be an interesting attempt. Like, it would be, I'm sure they'll experiment with that. I'm sure, like, I can see, like, a Steam sale or a special weekend where, like, lives are $1.
It seems like they're being greedy out of the gate here. Maybe they're trying to cover their butts because they put X amount of dollars into the game. Like, I don't know. It's obviously like an indie game. It's not like by a big publisher.
Yeah, I would, considering that how it's kind of caught. Certainly it's been written up in a lot of Kotaku and Polygon. Everyone, like, now that there's, like, eyes on the game, I would if I were them, probably reevaluate my pricing on that.
Well, there was that other game that just came out like a month ago. I cannot remember the name of it, where once enough players died, the game ended. Oh,
where everybody's, like, watching, and, like, the experience points go to the player, the viewers?
No, I can't remember. It's called Breed or something like that.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking about something else, which is it's like a 2-word title.
Anyone in chat know what game I'm talking about?
I know. I'm thinking of another where there's only one server and only 8 people play at a time.
No,
period.
This is like a massively multiplayer, like, horror game where, like, there's a bunch of, like, creatures that run around, and their whole thing was, like, once enough people died, I think it was like 200,000 people or whatever, the game just ended. And the game flopped. Like, it got really bad reviews, and, like, I don't think they ever even got to the place where enough people played it that they hit the number for the game to end.
Ouch.
Which doesn't bode well for this game, actually. Because, I mean, look, people are like, okay, well, I can spend $10 on some other indie game that I can play for forever, or I could spend $10 on this game where I could possibly last 5 minutes. I mean, that's an expensive 5 minutes, man. You think about that.
Yeah. Eric, Upsilon Circuit.
Oh, that's not the game I'm thinking of, though.
That's what I found that actually by accident looking for One Life on Google today.
Oh, wow.
And it's like I think it's like a dungeon-y kind of game, and it's like 8 people play at once, and everyone else in the game is an observer. But the trick is that, like, if someone dies, someone else takes over.
Flock.
And, like,
Matthew called it. The game I'm talking about is called Flock.
Flock?
And a bunch of
yeah.
And a bunch of other people in chat called yours out, too.
Upsilon
Circuit.
But the interesting thing about Upsilon Circuit is when you get experience points, it doesn't go to the players, it goes to the spectators. And the spectators decide how to level the players up.
Oh, interesting.
So the players have to deal with, like, the hand the spectators gave it, which is, like, a double-edged sword, because on one hand the spectators, like, kind of in a Twitch plays Pokemon way, probably want to see them suckeed, but some of them probably want to play.
Yeah.
so you kind of want to sabotage them a little bit so you get if you're out there. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting experimentation. It looks like coming down the pipeline.
I love it. I love seeing stuff like this.
Yeah, it's an element of the game design that should be played with.
Yeah, I still think it's too expensive.
$10 is too expensive for that. I mean, again, we don't entirely know how durable you are, or how how many options you have, or how likely the player. There was a big argument in the Kotaku comments on One Life about well, I would spare people, and people are like, you don't play competitive shooters, obviously. It would just, you would live long enough to get teabagged, and that would be it. It's like,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I will definitely give it a go. Yeah. I hope it's cheaper, so I don't have to give up $10 to try it out.
Yeah. But at the very least, I'll watch you play.
That would probably be a really good game to live stream.
Oh, that would be a great hangout for sure.
Because if you think about it, how mad do you get?
A big hangout, and everyone can just bring tens.
Right, I'll set up a tip jar on PayPal or whatever, and every time I die, one of Sifter subscribers can give me $10, and I'll keep trying, just like we're at the slot machine in Vegas or whatever. So maybe that's their whole plan. I mean, a lot of games are being developed now thinking about streaming in mind.
Yeah, I think it's a big streaming game. I mean,
and there'll be reaction videos on YouTube, just like Five Nights at Freddy's, where people are like, "Oh, I can't believe it!"
Yeah. Which will get even better if they're successful. That's the thing, is the more you succeed in that game, the more paranoid and horrified you're going to get.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I don't know what the release date is for that game, actually.
No, I didn't see.
I mean, that's the first trailer they put out for it. But with indie games, sometimes the first trailer is like the launch trailer. So I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I did do a little bit of research on it on their website, and the game looks to be like it's made in Russia.
Yeah, like the idea feels Russian.
Yeah, I think I went to the website, and the English led me to believe that it might be developed by Russians.
Well, I mean, you can if someone is downed in front of you, you can piss on them. I mean,
that's right.
It's I'm like, yeah, I can see the same culture that gave us Stalker, giving us this game. You watch some of those driving videos, and you're like, no wonder people want to piss on each other.
Oh, yeah, they all have dash cams. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic. And this next topic, I got to say, it is a game that was debuted, well, not even debuted, really, today at Sony's presser. It's a game called Detroit.
Detroit Become Human.
Become Human,
the most awkward title of 2015.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some Japanese games that have some pretty awkward titles.
This is like the infinite undiscovery of European game titles. Let's go that way.
So to set this up, back in, I believe it was 2012, David Cage, the mind behind games like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, basically put out this tech demo for the PlayStation 3 that was supposed to be rendered in real time. And people kind of fell in love with it. And what it was, it's about this female, I don't know if it's a cyborg, I guess it's just a robot. An android. Yeah. So it's a female android who is basically built and born. And she's going through her entry interview with the guy who built her, or the corporation that built her. And it's uncovered that she actually has feelings and emotion. And the guy is like, oh, well, we need to send you to the scrap heap because you could be a problem. And she basically pleads and begs and says, no, I don't want to die, blah, blah, blah. And he lets her live. And so people got crazy attached to that little tech demo. I think it on YouTube has done 50 million views or something absurd. And it was great. I will say, it tugged at my heartstrings pretty good when it came out. I remember talking about it on Invisible Walls back in the day. And it just went away. And here, 3 years later, at the Sony Paris Games Week press conference, out trots David Cage, or as they called him, David Cage, onto the stage, and he shows off this game. It's called Detroit. And it's basically, they went and made the game off of this Kara demo that they showed 3 years earlier. So, Detroit, interesting choice. I guess, for people who live in Europe or whatever, they maybe look at Detroit as the heartland of production in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess there's definitely a comparison here to how cars revolutionized American culture, and now Detroit's going to move into the Android business.
Although I would say, if you actually live in America and know Detroit now, Detroit is probably one of the last cities that would build Android. No disrespect to anyone who lives in Detroit, by the way, but I think that city's definitely down on its luck right now in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah, although I can't totally discount the idea that if you it's possible someone, it's cheap there. It's cheap, if you could figure out how to kind of run that business there, and it kind of caught
there
on
are
right
probably
away.
A lot of empty manufacturing places there.
If you need to mass produce something on comparatively on the cheap,
Detroit may not be a bad choice.
Like a Tesla style thing, like because clearly that's the kind of thing you're going for. Is kind of that Tesla style, revolution. I mean, just the building of the androids has like kind of an iPod feel to it. Yeah. So I can see like, and they do show some of kind of the rundown houses and stuff, and kind of the kind of the urban blight, decay there a little bit. So they're aware of it. That's the thing is like David Cage is working with I guess 2 other writers and directors on this game, and they both seem to be native English speakers from North America, which might help.
Is he working with anybody who knows how to put gameplay into one of his games? Maybe
that I cannot guarantee. Clearly these games are more cinematic experiences than full-fledged games. But like maybe he'll take some, maybe some cues can be taken from Until Dawn that make it a little more of a game.
Yeah,
experience.
Look, I enjoyed the hell out of Until Dawn. Yeah. But that Until Dawn told stories much better than anything David Cage ever did.
True, but
and look, that game probably did take a little inspiration from stuff David Cage has done. Yeah, I'll say that much.
But I think it sounds like they are really trying to step up the game. And Beyond Two Souls did step up in a lot of ways compared to Heavy Rain.
See, I never even tried Beyond Two Souls because Heavy Rain, by the time I finished it, I didn't want to play any more games like that.
Heavy Rain, I have my own issues with Heavy Rain's story. I think it cheats.
Oh, there was a huge plot hole in that game that to me just ruined the whole game. Like, and it wasn't even like it came at the end where you're like at the end of the game and you're like, oh, that stinks. It's like it happened like 2 hours in, and I'm like, when are they going to correct this? When if they never did?
Nope. And then like Beyond Two Souls, I thought was good. It was like I thought it had some serious structural problems that like never seemed to really pan out properly. But like in terms of a performance capture, like Ellen Page is great, and like they really created a cinematic experience in the game. I can't say that the game was all that fun to play on a mechanics level, gameplay level, but it told me a story that stuck with me. Like some of those characters stuck with me, and Ellen Page
That's good.
At the end, I wanted to give that character a good ending. Her character, I didn't want her to have a bad life. Basically, I felt responsible for that, and so I think that's kind of what he's trying to evoke there. And every game he seems to be getting better at it.
And this game has a little bit of a Deus Ex vibe.
Yeah,
in that it's kind of like the androids versus the humans, and they're like second-class citizens, but they're aware enough to know that they're second-class citizens.
Well, I'm reminded of the Second Renaissance in the Animatrix, where the robots are workers and they kind of start to realize that they're. Because that's the other thing. I think in the trailer here you see because they've got like waiting zones for androids and like seating zones for androids. Like the androids don't get to mingle with this. There's a segregated society with the androids, and she seems to be the only one who. Is aware.
Yeah.
But then there's near the end of the trailer, she starts walking past, and the other androids start looking at her, and I wonder if her code is contagious.
Could be.
Can she awaken sentience in these other androids, and is that going to become kind of, are you going to end up leading like a revolution?
I'm guessing yes.
Probably. But like
I would say with 85% certainty that's
probably
gonna happen.
Probably what's going to happen. But and it's building on on Second Renaissance with the Matrix and Deus Ex and Blade Runner and Ex Machina that just came out this year, which I think is
great freaking movie.
And there's a comparison to be made there in terms of the kind of the wayfish android girl.
Yeah. Although you can't really say he got his inspiration from it because his concept for this was
too long ago.
Yeah. But I'm excited for it, but I have huge reservations because of his prior games.
I don't mind the gameplay because hell, I'm a Shenmue fan. I got no room to talk, but like.
But look, Shenmue has like combat and like.
Yeah.
There's actual gameplay in Shenmue. Like there is no real gameplay in his games.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to defend the games to you because you're right. But I as for all the shortcomings David Cage's games have had, I enjoy what he's trying to do, or at least I respect what he's trying to do.
I really enjoyed Life is Strange. My Game Eval went up this week, and it speaks for itself. I really enjoyed the storytelling in that game, and to me, when the storytelling does something on a new level, like an Until Dawn or like a Life is Strange, I'm totally fine with it. But I never felt like his games did that. Like, I felt they always had a lot of promise, and he talked a big game, and he never really delivered on the storytelling part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's improved. I mean, we've come a long way. Even looking at this, you've come a long way from Heavy Rain, where everyone in the Philadelphia police station had mysterious French accents.
Right.
And, like, what?
Yeah.
But, like, you know, so presentationally, it's getting better and better and better. I don't think the gameplay is necessarily evolving in, you know, fully the way it should, but, you know, it's a new generation, it's a new take on things, and, you know, we'll see what it, because, you know, we don't know yet. We don't know what this thing's going to play like.
I'll say one thing, you can't slight his programmers.
No, not
because
at all.
whoever works on the hardware at Quantic Dream is really good.
The Wizards.
Like, they managed to get the most out of the hardware.
Was that also them that did the tech demo thing with the Wizard that turned out to be like a movie set kind of thing? Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if 3 years from now, I would too. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if 3 years from now, or maybe next gen, that demo turns into a real game. But that's probably the most impressive PS4 tech demo, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Before the system came out. So, look, I'm trying to stay positive on this, but again, I've been burned by his games before, and so I don't know. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to try to change your mind on that. But like, no, I mean, the premise is very interesting to me and appealing to me, and I will put up with the gameplay to experience the cinema.
All right.
Shall we say?
So let's move on to the next topic of the Big Six. This one is a game that came out last week, but since we didn't do a show, we haven't really had a chance to talk about it.
for some reason.
Yeah, odd.
Weird.
That is weird. That game is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. One thing I would say is yesterday it came out that it is so far the worst selling Assassin's Creed in the UK.
Which is weird because it takes place in the UK.
It takes place in the UK.
That's your home field advantage,
It takes place
man.
in London, and people in London did not want to buy this game. That is shocking to me.
Maybe more people go to Assassin's Creed for the exotic locales than I thought.
Yeah, they did. Like, I don't know what I know.
I'm not going to do that. I can go to London.
I know what it's like here, yeah. I mean, I was shocked to see that, though.
It's just more flat caps than usual, that's all.
Like, I won't be surprised if when the MPDs come out that it's near the bottom of the Assassin's Creed games as far as sales are concerned.
I wonder how much damage Unity did to that franchise. I mean, it's been running long, and there might be some fatigue there, but like, I wonder if people just are in full wait and see mode on this game because of Unity, because it had so many technical problems. And I liked Unity. I played it on the Xbox One, and
I played it late after it had been patched.
I played it when it came out, but I didn't have more. I had there were obviously the LOD pop-in problems, and there was it was a choppy game, frame rate. It didn't run very well.
No, it performed horribly.
But I did enjoy what they were trying to do, and Syndicate takes a lot of what they were trying to do and refines it, and it runs smoothly. And I haven't run into any weird tech. I'm only about 3-4 hours into it, but like, I haven't run into serious technical problems on the PS4, and like, already it's shaping up to be better. For one thing, the story is actually about Assassins and Templars as opposed to this like romance thing that happens to take place while Assassins and Templars are running around.
Right, yeah.
And Evie and Jacob are really interesting, likable protagonists. Like,
I would definitely agree with that.
They are. I think they're the best main characters since Ezio.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, I liked some of the others. I certainly liked Edward in Black Flag, which is my second favorite Assassin's Creed game. But like, I want to spend more time with these two. I hope they get some substantial DLC or maybe even another game sometime. Even already this early in, I'm like, I want to know everything about these guys. I want to play both of these characters for a long time.
Now, I have not played this yet. I got a download code from Ubi, but I got it like the day before it came out. They're like, it's so funny. They sent me the code. They're like, embargo's tomorrow morning. I'm like, wait, do you?
No problem.
Like, I'm trying to figure out if they wanted me to review it for the next day, or if they're like, maybe if he just plays 5 hours of it, it'll get a really good score.
It's been getting pretty good scores.
It's been doing okay. I think it's around like an 8.
Yeah.
8, little over an 8 maybe, aggregate score. But I have questions for you. Because I've played every Assassin's Creed except for this one, and I will eventually play this one by Nook or by Crook. So my first question for you is combat. Mm-hmm. The combat in Assassin's Creed, I've pretty much just reached the end of my rope with. Like, by the time I finished Unity, I was like, I don't know if I want to play another one of these games. Because the enemies, it's just like they stand around and watch you murder people. Like, and every review I've ever written for the game, I've complained about this. I'm like, people just stand around and watch their buddies get murdered, and they step up and it's their turn. Have they fixed that in this game?
Not entirely.
Of course not.
Here's the thing about the combat in this. They've really stepped up the animation work in it. And I know we were worried earlier this year about, like, is it going to be interesting that they took swords out?
Yeah.
But they didn't really take swords out. They just made them into cane swords. And so you've got cane swords and like a dagger, a kukiri, like curved daggers, and you've got brass knuckles. And both the characters can use all three of them. Like Jacob gets some bonus skills later with the brass knuckles or something. And I think Evie is more suited to stealth stuff. So she's better with. I like using the knife with her more. She just kills quicker, I guess. But the thing is, like, there's a new system now where once you get the life bar of an enemy down far enough, they're in, like, what's called near-death state, and they sort of, like, sit there dizzy a little bit until they can recover. And if you can get multiple enemies in near-death state, and then, like, when you go for the near-death state and hit the attack button again, you do, like, a kill move on them.
Right.
If you can get multiple enemies in a near-death state and then do the kill move, you get, like, a special, like, cinematic, like, triple kill or double kill or quadruple kill. Yeah. You get, like, and they're all really cool. Like, they're all really well done. So while the enemies, like, they will gang up on you a little more than before, and the counter flash is much more noticeable now. It's a big yellow bar that goes boing here.
As if you needed it.
As if you needed it. They are faster, and you can't just, like, overwhelm them. And some, like, the big guys, especially after you get, like, two good combos in, will just, like, do this really fast, like, backhand. Yeah. And you can't just, like, crush in on them like that.
Because I would just sit there and
so now it's kind of like a
counter kill everybody.
Right. Well, so now, like, the thing with the multi-kill, like, to me, it's like a mini game of, like, how many guys can I, like, knock down to nothing, and then, so it's not all that challenging to beat them, but it's I challenge myself to, like, get the cool multi-kill count, like, finishers. Which is not an ideal solution, but I do enjoy it, and they've gotten really creative with some of the finishers. And some of them are ridiculous. Like, some of them are ridiculous to the point that people probably think they're stupid. Like, there's things where, like, stabbing a guy in the back and he falls over, and as he falls over, you kick the dagger out of his back and it flies across the room into the other guy's throat, kind of thing. I mean, it's like just crazy shit like that, and it's fun. It's.
Well, I mean, the counter kills have always been a visual highlight of the series. In fact, at GT we would do counter kill montages where we just counter kill over and over, and we grab all of them, and there'd be like 30 or 40 of them, put them all together, string them together, and that would do like 200,000 views. Like,
and I'll tell you, like, for the first time in the series, I really enjoy the Fight Club stuff. Like,
really?
They have every game, Witcher and all those games now have the bare knuckle, fight. But now, like, the bare knuckle combat is pretty much the same as because with the brass knuckles and stuff, it's pretty similar to the standard sword, cane sword combat or whatever. But, like, the animations are so good, and, like, everything feels really solid. So, playing those, and so, like, it's fun because they send guys into the arena, and if you can, like, get a bunch of them dizzy, I got, like, a 4-man
knockout,
like knockout kill combo thing where he's like jumping off their backs and, like, punching the other guy in the face and, like kicking the guy in the nuts, and when he leans over, he rams him into the other guy's stomach and so. I mean, it's really cool. Like, it's just like, I grew up watching Van Damme movies and all those, like, ridiculous, over the top. It's like the Raid kind of stuff. It's like you like to see these cool fight choreography things.
The Raid is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
I just finally watched those, like, last year, and I was like, oh my god, why did nobody ever tell me about these movies? They're incredible.
Yep. So, a couple of those guys are in the new Star Wars movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Nobody knows what they're doing, but they are attached to it.
So, is there, like, a homestead mechanic in this?
Yeah, you have a train.
Okay.
You steal it. You very, very early in the game. You win someone bets a train on you or something, and you win the train. And you get, like, this, like, little crew that, like, runs the train, and the train constantly basically circles London. And you can go there when you need to, or you hop on and, like, quick travel on the train or whatever. And, like, it's actually kind of cool. Like, sometimes you'll be, like, doing stuff and, like, your train will just, like, go by over, like, one of the tracks.
Can you just hop on it and go?
If you can get up there and jump on it, yeah, you can totally
cool.
do that. And it gets where you want it to be, and you can jump off and grab onto one of the cargo hook things and stuff. And then, like,
do you level it up as the game
goes? You can upgrade it and upgrade, like, your gang and it's all the standard.
How do you upgrade the train? Does it circle faster, or?
I didn't see anything like that. But I think you can, like, you can do stuff where, like, it gets. You can upgrade the gang abilities. You can upgrade how much your safe is in the trains. Like, when you get money from, like, your owner, like the buildings you own or the business you own, you have to go to the train and get it out of the safe. So you can upgrade stuff so the safe gets bigger and can hold more money. So you don't have to go back to the train as much. And that's about as far as I've gotten with that. Like, if there's more to that, there might be more to that, but I don't know. Because you know how Assassin's Creed is, where it's just like, you know, I'm on sequence 4, and it's usually not until sequence 7 that it really tips its hand on everything it has.
But so far, you haven't, like, there's nothing like the Homestead where you're, like, constantly, like, upgrading, like...
No, nothing like that. I mean, you can't... I mean, there's the crafting system that's similar to how it was in Unity, and there's upgrades for your various outfits and weapons, and there's all these upgrades for your, you know, your skill tree for each character, and then you have upgrades for your gang, and kind of the hideout upgrades are more like, you know, money-making stuff and making your gang members better fighters, and like you can like give them better carriages. So like, because like, you'll find like your gang members will have like just be waiting around like horse and buggies, and you can give them like the Phantom carriage or whatever. You know, you give them like better equipment and stuff like that. So just to make your life easier.
What about strongholds? They have those still, where there's like those little like bases, basically, where the Templars are, and you have to like infiltrate the base and wipe everybody out, and then go up and sink it.
Yeah, what it is like it's the city of London divided into like all the different boroughs, and each borough has like so far like 4 different like main missions, and like usually it's like you have to like liberate child workers who are being like enslaved by Oliver Twist type people. Break up rival gang hideouts, break up Templar hideouts, and then like there's a whole list of like, I mean like seriously like 2 dozen like Templar agent guys you're supposed to hunt down and find in the city, and like there's a lot of stuff to do, and it's not as
per usual, but
it doesn't seem quite as regimented as.
Is there anything like feathers where you have to collect like 500 of them? Or
yes, there are music boxes. You have to collect music boxes, and in each music box, the disc that makes them play the music is like some kind of code thing, and you're supposed to bring them all to a hideout, and you plug it in, and then you have to solve the puzzle, and then you get some. I'm sure you get like somebody's armor from the previous games or something.
Have you seen any modern day stuff yet?
Yes, at the very beginning. Sean and Rebecca are back, which is good because Sean is my favorite character in the series, the sarcastic British asshole guy. Yeah. And they are actually trying to do some infiltrating, and like the girl from I think Unity, who was like the hacker that gets you, not Rebecca, but the hacker that gets you into the because now it's like the conceit is that you're the gamer playing like, you know, Abstergo's like game system that uses the memories, and they're hacking in and letting you like find stuff you're not supposed to find or whatever. Right. And it's weird in that like the way they show the modern day stuff is it's all through drone cameras that are like hovering in the room where Rebecca and Sean are like infiltrating, and I guess they're like nano machines or something. So the other because the other people can't see them, like they're just hovering. It goes from like drone 1, drone 2. One of the drones, by the way, is named Lucy. Oh. Which is Christian Bell's character from the original games.
Right.
But like, so they don't react to the drone. So at first I'm like, wait, you got like a quadcopter in there? It's just like no one sees that. But I guess they're like must be like nanite, like little mechanical fly drones or something. But like, so that's how you watch. They're all very cinematic. You don't have to do anything. You're not wandering. You know, it's not like. It's not like Black Flag where it was like, you work at Ubisoft now. Yeah. You know, come sit in your cubicle kind of thing. You know, like there's none of that so far. It's just cutscenes that happen periodically.
So Matt, why do you think people are so apathetic towards this game? Because usually when an Assassin's Creed game comes out, my social media feeds are just flooded with people playing it. And I literally have not seen or heard a peep from anybody playing this game.
I really think Unity made people wary. And I think there's a lot of people playing wait and see on it. I got it almost purely because I'm just a giant Assassin's Creed dork. Like I love the concept of the series, and I don't love every game in it for sure. Like there's been some bad games in this series. Yeah. But like I really liked what Unity was trying to do, and since Syndicate seems to be kind of trying to refine that and do it right this time, I was super. And I love the Victorian England setting. I mean, if it was anything other than Victorian England,
that's one of my favorite things about this series in general is just the tourism part of it.
For sure,
just being able to go back to these old times, and I mean they do a really good job recreating these.
Even if you go back to the first game. You know, the first game is very clunky now compared to what where they've taken it serious. But even like the recreations of Jerusalem and Acre and all those places, I mean, or even to this day, like the PC version is a beautiful recreation of those things.
For sure.
And that's one of the best things about it. In fact, I think that's why I was a little hesitant about this one and the last one was like I feel like it's getting a little too close to modern day.
I'd agree. Yeah.
To the point that I don't get that same kind of exotic tourism, history tourism thing. Like not
There's a little bit of the awe.
Yeah, not in the same way that you get with like running through Rome and the Renaissance or like even the Golden Age of piracy, where like that was a great hook with the just make pirate games.
Do you miss guns in this?
There's still guns.
Oh, there are guns.
You have pistols.
Oh, okay.
But like, there's no like muskets or anything like that so far. I'm really curious where they're going to go with it next. Like, do you keep moving forward? Do you like a World War I game? I guess the temptation must be there to try to tell kind of the more modern story. And they have started in this one. They did start dropping hints about like something happened in 2000 that almost wiped
really?
They suffered like a major loss to the Templars in 2000, which they haven't explained, but they've said that a couple times. And I don't keep up with the expanded universe stuff in this series, but like that's the first I remember really hearing them talk about like what happened and why the assassins are in such a bad position when the series starts.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to kind of which actually reminds me of Castlevania, where they kept talking about the Battle of 1999. That was where all this crazy shit happened. You wouldn't believe it. Never made the game. Like we don't know what happened, and now we never will.
Yeah. Now we never will.
Unless they do the Battle of 1999 pachinko game, we're never gonna know what happened.
Matt, would you recommend Assassin's Creed fans buy this?
Yes. If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, yes. If you are like,
what if you're someone who just picked up like Brotherhood in like the first game?
It ain't as good as Brotherhood so far.
Yeah.
Brotherhood's my favorite Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
It's the one that feels the most like you are running a group of assassins.
Yeah.
I love bringing in the ability to just like do the hand signal and all the guys come in and kill your targets.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm very early in Syndicate, but like so far Syndicate is feeling like that Brotherhood feeling of like you're running an organization, you have people backing you up, you can call in your flunkies to kind of do your stuff. Like if this one delivers on the promise of kind of like building, because that's the whole thing is like they want to build this organization to take over London, liberate it from the Templars. Templars have held it for like 100 years.
Right.
And so they want to liberate it, and they want to find like whatever piece of the Forerunners or Halo, First Civilization tech, the piece of Eden or whatever that they've gotten, like they want to figure that out. But if they really deliver on the idea that like by the end of this game you're running like this underworld organization, like in the way that Brotherhood made me feel it, like this could be one of my favorites. If you're a complete non-believer in the franchise, if Unity just like made you hate it, if you're just tired of every year there's an Assassin's Creed game, I don't know if this one's going to change your mind. But if you like Assassin's Creed, if you've ever loved Assassin's Creed and you think this setting looks cool, so far it's delivering.
All right.
It does still have the problem for me of the dumbed down controls, where I love the old controls, like the Ezio era controls before Assassin's Creed 3, where it became just like hold trigger and run and he'll just go over everything.
Yeah.
Because I felt you had a much more fine control over what they did then.
Yeah.
And it's still sort of hold the R2 button.
That's also when they started bringing in the chase sequences.
Yeah,
and you start getting hung up like you were
yeah,
running.
There have been a few like things where I'm like I didn't know what they wanted me to do quite, and they have still the stupid bonus objectives which like make you play the game in a way you don't want to play it, which I still find to be like a big problem. Like I don't like that, and I actually like the way Black Flag did it, where Black Flag didn't tell you the optional objective until you finished the mission.
Yeah.
It just didn't bother you.
It didn't taint you while you were playing it.
But I have not done any eavesdropping missions yet. So I will say, I know
they're coming.
I don't know. There were no eavesdropping missions that I ran into in Unity.
Yeah.
Like, not in the same way. So I think they know people hate the eavesdropping missions, but there have been a couple follow-up.
People complain about the chase sequences just as much. And I know they're in this game. So
my only issue so far has been like trying to the rules of like what counts as being detected seems to be a little different in this one, where like I was like, steal this guy's stuff without being detected, and so I threw a knife at him and killed. It's a silent weapon. No one saw where it came from, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's dead!" Like, you've been detected. I'm like, okay, if they, in my opinion, if they're not running at me with swords drawn, they didn't detect me.
Right.
Like clearly they know something happened, but it could have been a bird. It could have been a bird that dropped a very sharp rock.
Knife right in
You don't know.
All right, let's move on. Good discussion.
Oh, and the rope gun is awesome.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's like very Batman, but it's not Batman. And it's good because it lets you get to the top of things much faster. It lets you traverse horizontally. And I think the game, at this point, the series really needed a new form of traversal.
Did you see the video on Sifted of the guy who made his own? Like,
yes. Yes.
That guy's nuts. And he used it.
Yeah.
Screw that.
Well, I mean,
thanks.
I guess he trusts his handiwork.
Apparently he does. I wouldn't. All right, let's move on. It's time to get to the next topic, and this is a game that was just debuted today at Sony's presser at Paris Games Week. And Matt, this game, I'm just asking. Well, actually, it wasn't debuted. It was the gameplay was really shown for the first time, and it was actually debuted last year at Gamescom, and then it just disappeared. Like nothing was heard from it. They didn't mention it at E3. They didn't mention it at Sony's big event at the end of the year last year in Vegas. Out of the blue today, it comes back, Michel Ancel's Wild. And this game, to me, this was the game of the day today. This is the game that impressed me more than any other game that they showed today. So it's an open world game where you...
kind of the Stone Age again.
Another one of those
new
prehistoric times things.
I gotta say, I was skeptical until he transferred his personnel or consciousness or whatever into the eagle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Well, so the main character is supposed to be a shaman.
Yeah.
So he has control over animals, and Michel Ancel's whole thing was like it's supposed to explore the nature of man's relationship with nature. That's the whole idea, or the whole main concept. And the other thing about it is every animal...
Man's relationship with Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Every animal in the game you can take control of and play as. Even a trout in the water you can take control of. That was like the goal anyway. I don't know if that's changed. That's what he said when it was originally debuted last year at Gamescom.
Well, you can definitely be a rabbit, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, they did show a little bit more of that today in the trailer. You can also ride animals and use them as mounts. I don't know, man. This game, to me, looks freaking awesome. And, you know, it doesn't hurt that it's Michel Ancel.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess one thing I would say is it makes you wonder if we're ever going to get Beyond Good and Evil 2, seeing this project. This also is by an indie studio, I might add, that he just kind of started up last year out of, like, nowhere.
It's like, all right, if you won't let me make these games, I'll just do it myself, kind of thing.
And look at it. Yeah. It looks like a AAA big-budget project. I mean, I don't know if he now has investors that are dumping tons of money into this game or what, but it sure looks like it.
Yeah.
But I was blown away by this game today. I had almost forgotten about this game, by the way.
I had forgotten.
Like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, what is this? And I started thinking, I'm like, oh, yeah, they put out that, like, one little trailer, like, over a year and a half ago. And here it is. I am just, I don't know. To me, when I think about games moving forward, and we'll get to a game in a little bit that I feel like is the antithesis of this game. But when I think about games going forward and approaching new types of content and subject matter, this is the type of game that I think about. Like, it's just really unlike anything else. I mean, other than being an open world game, I mean, it looks like you can carjack animals.
Yeah.
Thus the Grand Theft Shaman.
I mean, it is interesting in the sense that, like it makes me think a little bit of No Man's Sky in the sense that I feel like Wild is also going to have people, you know, with that same old line, what do you do?
Yeah.
But it, like, I think there's like, you look at this trailer and I think you just see the possibilities. You know, I don't really know what you're gonna do, but clearly you're gonna be an eagle. You're gonna be a goddamn bear
and a trout.
Yep, and a trout and a rabbit.
And then at the end of this, there's that crazy like snake lady that comes up out of the ground. It's like
there's a lot of like weird, like kind of mystical elements to this trailer.
Well, right, it's a shaman.
Shaman and like the skeletons are talking to you and all that. Yeah.
Well, shamans use like psychedelics to do their rituals and things like that. So I mean, once you introduce psychedelics into a game, I mean, basically, the sky's the limit.
Hopefully, a slightly more respectful treatment of the subject than Far Cry 3.
Yeah, and I hope it doesn't turn into one of those, like, you never know what's real and what isn't games, because that's like a cop-out to me. And
I feel like I
hate movies and TV shows that do that, too, like the whole, like, Bob Newhart dream thing.
Oh, that's a great finale, though.
Well, yeah, it was when Bob Newhart did it. But now that it's been done, like, a billion times, it's like, it loses its impact, and, like, it's a cop-out. It's like...
Yeah.
all this crazy stuff happens. You're like, I can't believe all this happened. Oh, well, it was all a dream, or it was all a hallucination.
Well, there's the
drugs.
Bob Newhart style of doing it, and there's the Who Shot JR
Right.
style of doing it. Where it's like, the whole season? Really?
There's a lot of people watching this right now that be like, who shot
who,
JR?
What? Who's JR?
Who's Bob Newhart?
Somebody shot the guy who announced wrestling for 40 years?
Yeah.
By God, King.
Yeah.
He is broken in half. But no, I'm definitely curious about this game, and I'll play anything Ansel puts his name on.
For sure,
frankly.
yeah. I'll give it at least a chance, right?
Yeah. Something about the fact that, like, something about that one shot where you're flying around as the eagle, and then, like, you can do the vision thing where you zoom in and see the snake,
right?
And go down. I'm like, oh.
Well, there's one shot
cool.
too where you actually see the eagle flying towards you. It has a snake in its its clutches. Like, it looks like there might be like an ecosystem thing going on.
There he's riding a giant eagle.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it looks crazy,
Yeah.
and it looks completely unexpected. And I like the fact that you're like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, I like that. Like, I'm sick of looking at a game and being like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do in that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That is kind of what I'm thinking. Where, like, you know what? If I had to do an interview about this game for like a press thing or something, I'd actually have questions to ask.
Because a lot of times you look at these games and you're like, I know it already.
Yeah, everything you can fit everything into a slot, and you already know.
And you start asking about like minutia, which they'll never answer anyway because they're media trained, and they're like, that is not a part of the bullet points.
Talk to me 2 months from now.
Yeah, exactly.
When we are announcing that.
When I will have new bullet points that I cannot stray from. But I'm really excited about this game. Again, it was my favorite thing that they showed today. It, to me, looks the most interesting, the most unique. It does have a little bit of that Horizon Zero Dawn vibe to it, which they also showed today, which we're not going to really talk about on the show today.
Because it was all kind of old. It was just like more in-depth discussion of it. But I still say, No Man's Sky is my most wanted, but like Horizon Zero Dawn is way up there.
Oh, yeah. That game looks awesome, man.
I am excited to see Guerrilla Games freed from its Killzone prison.
Yeah. Well, what they showed today, and we'll just touch on that briefly, is that they just showed what we had seen behind closed doors at E3, which is I've talked about on the show before, which I said was awesome, and I wish you guys could see it. Well, you guys all saw it today. And there's a snake lady right on cue.
Yep.
I mean, look, dude, this game is nuts.
And it's just so casual about, like, it's like, oh, yeah, of course there's a giant snake lady. Why wouldn't there be? Where do you live that there is no giant snake lady?
So I'm really excited about that game. Hopefully all you Citrons are as well. Hopefully you don't have to wait another year and 3 months to hear more about it.
Yeah, that is the kind of thing of a lot of the things that were shown today, I'm like, are we going to be playing that, like 2017, 2018? I mean, Detroit certainly had no date attached to it at all.
And this is Michel Ancel. I mean, think about it. I mean, he did show this twice.
Yeah,
which is a good
It's
sign.
good. Like twice means might happen.
Yeah,
like, twice means
because
you're there.
I mean, we saw Beyond Good and Evil 2 once.
Yeah, and then since then it's like.
I mean, every once in a while people ask him about it. He'd be like, well, and he doesn't really give an answer, but it's just enough to keep you. And I think he's working people here. He's like, well, if the project does happen someday, I don't want people to completely lose hope or interest in it.
Right.
Because I'm sure he looks at games like The Last Guardian, and he's like, well, if I can just keep that hype train rolling for the next however many years it takes to get that game done.
I'm just going to put that in Shenmue cold storage for 15 years, and we'll see you on Kickstarter. Kickstarter 4.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next game we're going to talk about from Sony's presser today, and that game is Gran Turismo Sport. And Matt, this is the game that I would say from that press conference I was the least interested in.
Same.
In fact, one thing I would say is, why?
I don't know.
Why? Do we need another Gran Turismo, Matt?
I don't.
I mean...
I haven't needed another Gran Turismo since 4. I mean, I don't...
I think 4 might even be pushing it.
I don't care.
Here's the thing. It's like, there are other games that are better than it. Mm-hmm. And look, Forza, without a doubt, is better than Gran Turismo at this point.
No question.
But if you own a PlayStation, you can't play Forza.
Right.
But that doesn't matter. There are games that are better than it. Project Cars is better than Gran Turismo.
I would certainly rather play Drive Club if we're going to limit it to PlayStation exclusives.
Drive Club, marginal.
But I still
Project Cars, without a doubt, is better
Project
than
Cars
Gran
for
Turismo.
sure. But I still enjoy Drive Club better than more than Gran Turismo, just because my problem with Gran Turismo has always been that it's so sterile.
It is. It is just lifeless.
Yeah. Whereas Drive Club at least seems to have. That's the thing I love about Turn 10 and Forza and Project Cars is like you can tell the people that make those games love cars. Like
Right.
they live and they breathe it and they love it. And this stuff they write for just on Forza for the Top Gear guys to read or even it's a little broy, but like the Forza Horizon.
But at least it has a
stuff.
little personality.
It has personality, but it's like these people get it. These people have been to the car shows. These people have been, and I'm sure the Gran Turismo developers are the same way, but it just doesn't come through.
Look, there's no personality in those games at all. And it's like they try their damnedest to make sure there isn't any. It's like...
It's really weird.
I don't even know how to put my finger on it or put it into words, the vibe that I get from the Gran Turismo series. But I honestly haven't really enjoyed one since, like, the second one. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, like, it doesn't resonate with me. Like, I just feel like it's got no soul, those games.
I would agree with that. And I bought when I bought my PlayStation 2, I bought the Gran Turismo bundle, the Gran Turismo 3 bundle.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to play Gran Turismo 3, and I just didn't. I remember it was like just like
photo mode.
It felt empty.
Yeah.
And like I remember, I gave it another shot with 4, and like I was kind of done after that. Well, as soon as Forza came on the scene, I was like, oh, this is better. And then you also had
Forza, the first couple games weren't better than Gran Turismo.
They were shaky, but you could
by
see
the third one,
where they were going.
It kind of
and you had things like
it.
Grid, which was a great, again, great racing game. And I always tilt a little bit more to the arcade side.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so Gran Turismo, while it's very pretty, I don't really care.
Here's the other thing. They show some snippets of the game in here, which I'm surprised at. Like, when they started showing this trailer, I thought we were going to really just see, like, racing footage the whole damn time. At the end, they do show some in-game footage of it. It does not look as good as Forza. And look, I don't know if they're still reusing that engine that they've been using for God knows how long. I'm guessing they probably are. Because look, in the last game, they were still using car models from, like, the generation before. Yeah. Like, they got really lazy with, like, their car models, and, like... Here's the other angle to this whole thing, is this studio, I'm starting to wonder if Sony won't pull a Konami with this studio and be like, bro, like, you take way too long to make your games, 1. 2, if you look at the sales of Gran Turismo over installments, I think it peaked at 3.
3 was a huge one. Yeah.
Huge. And it moved tons of hardware. You bought it.
Oh, yeah.
The hardware for it.
I bought the hardware with it, yeah.
If you look at every game since then, it's just like a stair step down.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
the sales of it
I also think part of it is, like, not to encourage the yearly Ubisoft model, but I don't think they come out often enough. People forget. And they left, they leave that, by having those huge gaps between games, you leave that door wide open for something like Forza to come in and steal the thunder, you know? Like, there's real competition out there in the car sim market.
And that's the thing. It used to have it all to itself.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't. And there's other people out there who are just as smart as them and apparently work a lot harder because they can crank out games a lot more quickly.
Yeah, those Forzas come out like, boom,
Clockwork.
2 years.
And they always have, like, definitive improvements to them. That's the thing with Gran Turismo. Like, I don't see it. They're always like, well, there's more polygons in the cars now. Well, there's more polygons in half the cars.
Right.
The other half look like the same cars.
There's always been some, like, weird things about this. Is like how long did they use that same car, like, tire screech sound?
Yeah.
The same one every single time
for
every car for everything.
Damage in their game.
Yeah.
I mean, those games. I mean, it looks like actually they have stepped it up a little bit because the fact that they're showing this game already, like, that's already way
fast.
That's for them.
Yeah,
that is fast. That's way ahead.
And as I understand it, isn't this like part of the point of this game is that it's their partnership with FIA?
Well, yeah, the whole thing is
which has been promised for a very long time.
And we didn't really set up the game. The thing about the game is it's like all centered around like competition, and it's like a league. It's like esports. Everything's freaking esports now, Matt. Everything. They're just shoehorning it into everything they can. Like. Here's another one. There's like a whole esports league built around it, and it's like certified by the FIA.
Yeah.
I give a crap about that. Do you care about that?
No, but there's a whole millennial audience that just wants to be the very best, the number one.
Yeah.
Pokemon has a lot to answer for. Everyone wants to be a Pokemon master of their hobby.
They should just give out participation trophies for Gran Turismo, and everyone will love it.
I think those are called gym badges.
Yeah, you're right. So it sounds like
I'm going to reduce an entire generation of Pokemon tropes. That's what I'm going to do now.
So it sounds like we're on the same page here on this game.
Yeah, I will. Honestly, I'm surprised. I never expected to talk about this game this much.
Yeah, I know. Here's what I'll ask you. When do you think it's coming out?
They didn't have any.
Well, no, he said. Well, he's always does this. He's like,
he says,
we want to have the
right.
beta like next year.
I don't know. I'll go with before the Vita game.
Here's a better question: will it come out before or after the next Forza?
I'm going to say alongside it.
At the same time.
I'm going to say at the end of the end of 2017, like fall 2017.
That sounds right to me too, actually.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet, which is really pathetic, but because they've already been working on this for a couple years now, and Forza will have launched a game and
maybe they'll surprise us, but I feel like
finished another one and put it out.
I don't care who you are. If it's like, look, if The Last Guardian comes out before your game, come on.
Yeah.
And those guys, I tell you, like, I've been to the Polyphony Studios, and they are not a cheap location.
Their
folks.
studios are amazing,
super
man.
nice. Like, they have an elevator that brings the car up into the office so they can like model it from their desk and just turn and look at it.
That's what I'm saying. Those guys just take stacks of hundreds and just light them on fire.
Well, then, like, if you go to the roof parking garage, it's just all Ferraris. It's amazing,
loaded, dude. Well, the guy who runs the studio got like one of the first 4 GTs, and like.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
At
Sony
least,
could pull a Konami and be like, no mas, bro.
At least the Team Eco guys probably don't have like a live griffin in the garage, like that they have to feed every day. Like that's not an expense they have.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Gran Turismo's days may be done. I know I got nothing out of that debut today, and actually nobody there did either. Like after the trailer was over, you heard like a smattering of claps.
Well, it is really interesting that even though Sony has Gran Turismo and it's stable, they still do things like Drive Club, and they Project Cars isn't exclusive, but like they've definitely been promoted on PSN and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe
Sony's moving on. Maybe
so.
Maybe that was the whole Project Cars thing. Is like maybe we can find somebody else to start making these driving sims. That we don't have to spend like $300 million.
Not even to say Gran Turismo is a bad game or a bad series, but it's like I think Sony needs something more dependable.
They're paying for it?
Yeah,
and you're right. A schedule that they can count on. Be like, okay, we need this game for Q4 2016. Can you deliver it? And some studios can do that. Polyphony doesn't seem like it can. So we'll see. But I have a feeling there might be some changes. Some rumblings coming on with Sony with this last project.
Wouldn't surprise me, no.
All right, so let's move on to the last topic of the Big Six. And basically, there are just too many games that were shown off today for us to kind of address each one. So this last topic of the Big Six, we're just going to run down some of, well, I wouldn't say smaller, but the games that we didn't feel like we wanted to talk about specifically as their own topic. So the first one we're going to talk about is Robinson: The Journey. So this game...
This was my favorite.
Was it?
Of what they showed today.
So,
I don't know if I'm ever going to play it because I don't want to pay $400 for a PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
But you put dinosaurs look that good in something, and obviously it was a CG. It was a CG trailer, I think, right?
I don't know.
Because that was a PC game.
Well, here's the thing. So what we're seeing right now on the screen is a demo that Crytek put out probably 4 or 5 months ago. And it was called like Dinosaur 3D or something stupid like that. And they were like, oh, it's just a VR demo to show what we could do with VR. So it's a little bit like Detroit, where it actually started as like this demo thing and then ended up morphing into a real game. So this is real time right here. This is a demo that they showed, I think, at GDC. I think it's where they showed it off for the first time. And then it ended up turning into this real game called Robinson. And to me, this is terrifying. Like, just this right here, in VR, sitting in, like, a Tyrannosaurus's nest, when then an egg starts to crack open, and then you start hearing the boom, boom, boom. That's terrifying. Like, VR in Dinosaur Land, I don't know if anything could be any scarier than that. Even scarier than, like, a Resident Evil VR game, I think it would be. So I'm pretty excited about this. Now, we don't know yet if it's just for PlayStation VR. It could also come out for Oculus, which, since it's Crytek, probably so.
Yeah, I would think, unless Sony, money hats it. I mean,
that could be.
Because I feel like if I'm Sony, I definitely want to, like, throw some money at some of these people and get these things only on PlayStation VR. Because that's the only thing that would push me to get a PlayStation VR over an Oculus.
Well, I saw an analyst today said that PlayStation VR, in his opinion, was going to be the most successful of all the VR headsets.
Really?
Yep, I saw that today. And it was right after this presser. Because, look, Sony put a huge focus on PlayStation VR today. We were all wondering, we're like, oh, well, what's going to be the killer apps for PlayStation VR? And I think Sony kind of answered that today. And look, they have rigs, which is like the generic esports game for VR, which I think is probably going to flop and no one's going to care about. And they did show that today. But they showed stuff like this that like made a big impression.
Like you've at least got stuff that I'm like, I want to experience that.
Yeah.
Like, do I $400 want to experience that? I'm not sure yet. But like, you have my attention, and I have a title of a game I can cling on to and say, well, you know, Oculus is going to have stuff, but PlayStation VR has this game. Like, so I think they're a little bit ahead of Oculus, at least in my mind share department for that right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They showed a good bit today. I still don't know if it's enough for me if I have to decide between an Oculus or PlayStation VR. I don't know if I saw enough that would make me go with PlayStation VR instead of Oculus.
Same.
Because the other part of it too,
the war is not over by any means.
Because the other part of it too is that Facebook owns Oculus, and like Sony has a lot of money. Facebook has more money.
Right.
And when you start looking at placing a bet, I mean, this is a bet. These VR headsets are a bet because you don't know. So,
I also think like Oculus is just going to be a more open platform. You know, whereas the thing that makes me nervous about PlayStation VR is Sony has a history of putting out some accessory thing, and it doesn't catch fire in the first year, and then they just sort of quietly walk away from it. PlayStation Move,
PSP Go,
the PSP Go, the
PlayStation
Vita.
Move, the Vita, which we didn't get to talk about it, but last week Sony announced that they've stopped supporting Vita, which pissed off a lot of people. I had assumed that had happened a year ago or 2 years ago, and they stopped showing their games at E3.
Well, it's an entirely digital platform at this point. So.
Yeah, and you're right. They do have a history of bailing on stuff whenever it's not really going their way. So,
and I mean, I know, like, PlayStation Move, they walked away from it. Now they're showing PlayStation Move in the PlayStation VR stuff again.
I guess I'm glad I had those controllers.
I'm like, oh my god, where is my iToy?
Yeah.
Like, where the hell? I'm sure it's in a drawer somewhere. It was like iToy again. Remember Eye of Judgment?
Yeah.
Remember how much time that got on the stage at the press conference?
Well, I also remember, because it was like really visual and it made people go, ooh. But then look, there's the camera for the PlayStation 4. Yeah. Like, it doesn't do anything. I bought it, like, I unplugged it. I don't even use it because it doesn't even. It's like at least Kinect works for like the voice commands and stuff like that. Right. Like, but that the PlayStation Eye or whatever the hell it's called now doesn't really do anything. It's like. I think you can use it as a microphone for multiplayer games if you don't want to use a headset, but like that's pretty much all it does, other than spying on you. Yeah. So I unplugged it.
Well, obviously it does.
Yeah, well, of course. But I agree with you. And when you're making a bet and you have to take all this into account, and it's like, look, Facebook has more money than God, so I don't know. But this has the ecosystem, and it has people who have made games for a long time making games for it, and so. All right, let's move on to the next one. Matterfall.
Titanfall.
It's like if somebody put our names together.
Oh yeah. If it was Matterfield, we'd really have something. Some kind of horrible two-headed monster.
So here's what's shocking about this game. Do you know who this game is made by?
No.
This game is made by the people who made Resogun.
Oh, okay.
Housemarque.
Interesting.
Think about that. They went from Resogun, which was an amazing game, probably the best PlayStation 4 launch game, I might add, which I got for free because I got the launch unit or whatever. It's definitely the game. It's so funny to look back on this now, but it's definitely the game I played more than any other at the launch of the PlayStation 4. But it's a very simple side-scrolling, shmup. And here we have this.
But what is it?
I don't know.
The thing is,
nobody can figure it out.
Like what it is, I saw some people on like NeoGAF and stuff making like guesses that it might be like a Mega Man kind of thing. It might be side scroller. Who knows?
Really? And they just think this is a CG trailer. It's not really showing what the game is. That would be pretty sneaky.
It would.
I don't think that's
because there's a lot of stuff like this here where he creates the platform. You're like, that could be really cool in 3D, or it could just be a 2D platforming mechanic. It's.
I don't think there's any way that game isn't a side-scrolling 2D platformer.
I hope not.
You cannot in good conscience show this trailer and then just have it be Mighty
Shane.
Number 9.
How long have you been doing this?
A long time, and that's why I don't believe that to be the case. I just cannot see a
Well, when we talk about Halo 5 later, we'll talk about what trailers do.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. I think...
I hope not. I hope it's like I got a nice Vanquish vibe out of that. And,
this is even if this is CG and it isn't really the game, That's an expensive trailer to get made. Like,
Yeah.
they spent a shit ton of money. If that's not real, they spent a shit ton of money to have somebody make that trailer. And to me, if it's just like a little indie side-scrolling platformer, I've never seen a side-scrolling platformer with a marketing budget like that.
Like,
I never have.
You don't
Unless it's
think?
a
I mean,
Nintendo
like
game or
that.
Mario
You
game.
don't think it could end up being like kind of like a Shadow Complex kind of thing?
I could see that maybe. But
Like,
I
that's
think
the kind of
still
thing
that
I'm
this
thinking.
might be what the game looks like, though.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, as far
What
as
if, what if it's both?
it could be. I don't
Like,
know.
there's a lot of changing up of how the protagonist functions in this trailer.
Well, look, the mechanics look cool. It looks
Yeah.
like you can crystallize any part of your body and turn it into a weapon. You can crystallize enemies. It could present some really cool mechanics. But again, they debuted this game, didn't really give any information for it at all. Like, they're just like, here's the trailer for this game from the Resogun guys.
Yeah, have fun.
Like, the video that they posted, like, had no description underneath it to explain what it was, nothing. It's just like, here it is, make what you will of it. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see if I am getting juked here. I hope I'm not. Do you really think that's what it is?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I can see the pedigree of Resogun in it now that you say that because of
Well, yeah, all the particles,
all the particle stuff,
and
and all. Yeah.
So they have the tech already.
Yeah, the tech's there. I mean, what if it's and again, the combat they show in the trailer is very reminiscent to me of Vanquish.
Yeah, with the sliding and everything.
The sliding and all that. So I'm like, I mean, I'd love to play another Vanquish, even if it's not really Vanquish.
For sure, yeah.
I hope it's that.
Okay.
I hope it's that.
We shall see. Let's move on to the next game, Boundless. So Boundless, I believe this game is already on early access for PC. I think it is. I think it's also available for PC. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's also coming to PC. It's not an exclusive for PlayStation 4. This game also to me is a mystery. I don't know much about it. It appears to be a Minecraft-style game. You got the hammer there.
With much more of a integrated kind of cross-world multiplayer element.
It's got the voxel-style graphics. I mean, it's got Minecraft written all over it, basically. I still can't quite figure out what's up with like the portals. It looks like maybe you have a hub world, and then those like portals take you into the worlds that other people have built. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, you have your own universe, your own world, which is like unique, and then you can build a portal that takes you to other worlds, and you can kind of like plant your flag there if you want. You can work with other people to like build stuff, like what you see here, like with this whole.
You're previewing other people's worlds.
Like I think the implication here is that like this structure he's in has been built by players,
right?
And they want to like create like an economy where like if you're good at building, the other players will pay you to build stuff for them, or if you're good at like fighting, you can go kill things and bring back resources. Like I think that's the idea. Is that it seems to be a more structured Minecraft kind of situation that has a bigger variety of biomes that you can instantly get to, like through the portals, as opposed to
here's this weird like grapple hook thing that they showed at the end there.
Cool.
It's like
I think in that like thing they're on. It's like I read the thing that said like if you explore a single world long enough, you'll find like a Titan kind of thing. Where like if you wake it up, it'll like just kind of wander the world and destroy things, or like
interesting.
So it's and like it's like a group dungeon almost. Like you have to gather other players to take it on, and if you can defeat it, I guess you get something or whatever. But like it's like you'll have this giant monster thing like wandering around the world, and you have to like get a group. I guess it's kind of like a 40-man raid kind of thing.
Wow.
Like you got to like go in and like with other players and stop it. So I think that's what they're showing when they grapple up there.
Well, I'll say this. To me, looks like a Minecraft that I would actually care about and be interested in.
Yeah, I'm
like Dragon Quest Builders is kind of there. It's more of like an RPG mixed with world building. This looks more like an action adventure crossed with world building. Like the thing that never resonated. The reason Minecraft doesn't resonate with me is because there's no objective to it. Like when I was a kid, I would have loved it because I just like to build stuff. When I was a kid, I had Lincoln Logs and erector sets and all those Legos or whatever. Like I just love building crap, but I'm not really like that anymore. Like there has to be some objective or some goal that I'm shooting for to motivate me to keep going, and that's where
or at least
Minecraft didn't do it for me.
Like I don't have the patience to build stuff all that much. So like if there's this game, makes room for people who like to build stuff as well as people like me who just want to hit things with a sharp stick. Like that's if I can also be useful in that world, that would be cool.
Yeah. So, not a lot known about that game. I should probably research it and see if it actually is coming to PC, but I thought that was the case. But
I don't know. I'd never heard of that game before today.
Either way, an interesting game that, again, is just that's what, like the 7th game we've talked about for the presser today?
Yeah.
Like, we haven't really talked about, like, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Something for everything.
We just glossed over it.
Something for everyone, rather.
Yep. Okay, next we're going to talk about No Man's Sky, very
Yay.
briefly, though. And basically what we're going to talk about is they put out the new trailer today. There's all these rumors swirling around over the last couple of days that the game was coming out today. Like, literally.
Which is crazy.
People were like, they're stealth launching it on Tuesday. This morning...
I wish.
This morning, the studio comes out and says, no, the game's not coming out today. And then 2 hours later, they put this trailer in Sony's presser that gives you the release date. The release date of June of 2016, Matt.
It's a long time.
That's a long time, my friend.
Yeah.
And what I'm upset about...
I didn't expect it this year, but I was kind of hoping March-ish.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, Marcus and I's fantasy game draft, I should go back and look at that because...
Yeah, I haven't thought about that in months.
It might be interesting to see now because a lot of the games that I picked have been delayed that I didn't think were going to be delayed. So actually, maybe next week we'll do a little
catch up.
Go back and look at that and maybe tally up the scores and see where we're sitting. But anyway, so one, it bothers me that it's delayed. Like I really didn't think it'd be delayed that long. But the other part of it too is that now it makes me wonder if PlayStation VR isn't coming out until June of 2016.
It's real hard for me to believe you don't launch PlayStation VR alongside that game.
Even though lately they've been like,
I know they haven't admitted
VR,
that or said anything that it's like actually going to happen, but like, it's such a no-brainer.
It is.
It screams for it.
It also screams like people losing their lives.
Yeah.
Like you could just get.
I'm gonna come that week. I'm gonna come into this show with the goggles.
I'm like,
just don't mind me. I can hear you.
I'm on planet Eternia.
I just named that sauropod a Satterfieldosaurus.
Yeah. But that's my big concern is that PlayStation VR now may be targeted, and they said Q2, Q1, Q2 for PlayStation VR.
I mean, June is still Q2.
I mean, it is the outer fringe of Q2.
And it's right there at E3.
It is,
So that would be...
Does seem a little convenient.
Yeah. I mean, big stuff does launch around E3. Batman was supposed to be right around E3 originally this year. And Last of Us launched E3 week.
Yeah.
Sony is not afraid to put a big gun in stores on E3 week.
It is true. So let's move on to the last game we're going to talk about from Paris Games Week, Sony's presser, and that is Uncharted 4 multiplayer. They finally debuted it today in a trailer. The beta they announced today is starting on December 4th, so not long to wait for that. Actually,
that's right there.
A month and a week or two. This looks amazing, by the way. Like, this is multiplayer, and look, for every multiplayer mode, they generally tone down the graphics, and I think they are doing that. What did you say, Matt? It's
multiplayer is 900p 60 frames a second, where the single player mode is 1080p 30 frames a second.
I'm sure there's a lot of moaning on the internet about that 900p. But look at it! Who cares? It looks amazing!
Yeah, I think in competitive play, it's better to have a higher frame rate.
This is probably the best looking, if this is indeed in-engine gameplay, this might be the best looking multiplayer game I've ever seen on a console.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks stunning. I also love how they're incorporating all the other parts of the single player into it. I don't know if it'll work ultimately in multiplayer, but I do like that they're trying to bring all the stuff you can do from the single player campaign into the multiplayer.
Yeah, it's been a long road for Uncharted multiplayer. They've had to learn some things along the way.
I mean, look, it's never really resonated with me big time. Like, it's always one of those things that, like, I play it to review it, and then maybe I play it for, like, a few days after that, and then I just kind of move on to something else. It always has, like, quirks, I guess. There's always, a caveat with...
It's just never something I really wanted,
yeah.
I guess. When playing the other Uncharteds, it never occurred to me, like, what would be great? Yeah, I think
it's one of those things where it helps them motivate people to buy the game instead of just getting it from, like, GameFly or whatever.
Well, also, I think at the time, like, PlayStation didn't have a Gears equivalent, and this was kind of that for that time.
Also, what we just saw there was some supernatural stuff, like weird like totems that you can throw out that sends out this like demon gas that seems to like possess people. There was one shot where like she turned on fire and like teleported, which makes you believe Uncharted 4 is going to have some supernatural stuff to it.
They always do.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
And it's always a little weird.
Yeah, and they always kind of break the combat system in the final act a little bit.
But I'm excited. After watching this, like, I don't know if I've seen anything that's going to make me want to play it for months after it comes out or anything, but it does look really good.
Yeah.
And it looks like it'll be something different, which is hard to say in this day and age, even with multiplayer games. So there you have it. That is the wrap for Sony's Paris Games Week press conference. That's a whole lot of stuff, man.
That's a bomb they dropped right there.
And look, that was no third-party stuff there at all. That's all first
them.
party. There's, the one game maybe it's coming to PC, but that was quite a press conference, I got to say, man.
Yeah.
One of the best ones I've seen in quite a while. And that's saying something coming off of E3 where they
At least
literally
since
just
E3,
blew our doors off. So
the only thing they could have done was announce a Kickstarter for Half-Life Episode 3.
Yeah, or a new Castlevania maybe.
Yeah.
But we know that's not happening. All right, it's time to move on to our trailer of the week. And this is for a game that I think we ran as a trailer of the week, maybe one of the first couple episodes we ever did of GameFace. It was the debut trailer that we ran the first time. But here is a trailer for Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's really the second trailer that's epic. Like, they've been putting out these little snippets of media here and there since that first trailer. This is the first one that they put out since the debut trailer that really kind of blew my socks off. Let's roll it.
I used to know what tomorrow looked like. Before the world split in two. Everything changed then. Including me.
Agent Jensen, am I going to have a problem with you?
No, sir. No reason to assume you would. They made me what I am. A high-end weapon. And now, they want to put people like me in a cage. Hunting the elite who thrive in the shadows takes more than just a man.
You're not gonna go all wonky on us now, Hansa, are you?
I guarantee you'll never see it coming. It takes a weapon who chooses to believe a better future is possible. If I can survive long enough to see it.
Good stuff there, people.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited for that game.
Yep. I wish it was coming out this year, but
I actually am glad it's not coming out
it's a little
this
crowded.
year.
True.
I'm just struggling trying to keep up with everything that's coming out right now. Want that game being tossed into the mix? No thanks. Like, I think Fallout's getting here in like 2 days, and I'm gonna have like 2 weeks to finish Fallout for review.
And we got Battlefront, and then we got Just Cause 3's in there in December.
Yeah, I know.
And Just Cause 3, I mean, that game's huge.
It is huge. Yeah, I mean, I'm drowning right now in games, dude. I'm glad that game's not coming out.
I don't even know when I'm going to get to play the game that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and so that's a nice segue, Matt. So for our deep dive, we are going to talk about Halo 5 Guardians. I've actually been playing the game for the last, well over a week. That's actually one game where they actually did give us code and plenty of time to get the review ready. Even though the game eval isn't up yet, it's because I was waiting to play on public servers before delivering the game eval. The game eval is actually written, and I've already played on public servers now for a day. So probably when we get done recording tonight, I'm going to go home, polish off that game eval, and publish it. So you'll probably see it tonight. But we're going to do a deep dive of it right here on GameFace to talk about it. Matt, fire away. What do you want to know about Halo 5?
Well, previously we did talk about the concern about there's no, standard Halo multiplayer in the game. There's Warzone, which is sort of the...
Well, let's talk about campaign first.
So, you want to talk about campaign?
Yeah, let's try to keep it structured. So let's talk campaign first, then let's move to multiplayer.
Just like we used to write them.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so campaign first. So we've been subjected to quite the barrage of media and ARG stuff and Hunt the Truth and the Locke versus Master Chief kind of stuff. How did that all pay off in the game? Is that in there?
What, the Locke versus Master Chief
Yeah.
thing? No. It's really not. Yeah, there is.
And like there's obviously there's the I'm referring to the IGN article about how like Microsoft lied to you with the Halo 5 trailers. Do you feel like you got lied to?
No.
Doesn't it seem a little more like
there
a
is
misleading trailer so it doesn't give away what it's actually about?
Yeah, I mean that is kind of what it is. Look, there is an altercation between Chief and Locke.
But no one's like shooting each other in the head
But,
in the
like,
desert back and forth like
look,
they did in the
I'll say
trailer.
one thing about what IGN said. Do you remember that trailer where they did like the two versions of
Yeah,
the trailer?
exactly,
One
yeah.
where Chief finds Locke like almost dead, and the other one where Locke finds Chief almost dead. None of that ever happens in the game. None of it.
Like, what about like thematically? Is there anything like
No.
Where did that come
So
from?
basically what happens is, and look, I'm going to write this on my game eval, and so I'm not going to feel bad about talking about it here, is basically Cortana isn't dead.
Okay.
Which to me is the biggest piece of bullshit. I cannot tell you how mad I was when I realized, because look, at the end of Halo 4, I didn't really like the campaign in Halo 4 all that much. Like,
I
as
don't
far as-
remember anything
because
about Halo
nothing-
4.
Yeah, because it was like kill everybody, flip a switch, kill everybody, flip a
Yeah.
switch. There's nothing to remember about the campaign gameplay-wise. But one thing I did remember is the freaking story where Cortana fucking dies. Like, that hurt. Like, I literally felt something when Cortana sacrifices herself for Chief. And then they just like are like, nope, didn't happen. Like, screw you, man. Like, that's bullshit. Like, you can't do that. You can't, like, take your like, Cortana was, like, the second biggest character in the whole franchise next to Chief. And truth be told, most Halo fans cared more about Cortana than Chief, because Chief's pretty much a jerk. So, you have this sympathetic character that you've had, like, people building these feelings for a decade, and you kill her. And, like, if you don't feel a little something when that happens, like, you're dead inside. And I did. Like, it bothered me. It affected me. And then you get into this game and like, oh, wait a minute. We're getting transmissions from Cortana from far-flung parts of the galaxy. Like, screw you, man. Screw you. So that's what happened. So he gets a
Do you think that still would have happened if they hadn't named their search feature thing, Cortana?
I don't know.
Well, you can't kill off the OS.
You can't tell I'm really pissed off about that, the whole plot in this game. So that's what happens. Like, these transmissions start coming in from Cortana. Of course, Chief goes to investigate them. The USNC or whatever, I can't remember what it is UNSC at USNC, whatever.
Not UNSC,
UNSC.
Space Corps, yeah.
Sends Locke and Osiris team after Chief to, like, stop him. That's
Osiris team.
Right.
That's a subtle name choice.
Yeah, well, Chief's team is like blue team, so pick your poison on that one. And so that's the plot. It's not even that, like...
So Chief goes to rescue Cortana that we thought was dead, and they send the team
Well, it's
named
not
after
even
the
like
god
rescue.
of death to chase him.
Right. It's
Like,
not even rescue. It's like investigate. He's
Right.
like, Cortana could be alive. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. I'm not going to spoil any more of the plot other than that. And they send Locke after Chief to, like, stop him and bring him back or whatever. It's not that he hates Chief or anything like that, or they're, like, rivals.
No vendetta. There's no, like...
No, not at all. But, like...
Chief doesn't turn against humanity or anything
No,
like that.
it's
Yeah.
like, Master Chief is like the bad... No, like, it's none of that.
Because, like, the commercials certainly seem to imply... It's like, when we can't control him, when he betrays humanity, we have to... I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like, what?
it's all a bunch of garbage. That's all garbage.
So do you think that's, like, wrong, or is it just...
I just freaked out. I think it's all wrong. Yes.
Well, Cortana, yeah, but, like, in terms of, like, the marketing material kind of, like, misleading you.
It is a little misleading, yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are going to play the campaign and be like, what happened? Wait, where is this stuff that you guys marketed to me? That, again... The whole marketing thing's kind of gray area anyway, because if you never looked at any commercials, you wouldn't know any of that stuff anyway. So
how is gameplay-wise the campaign, like, compared to, like, say, Halo 4 with the flip a switch?
it's way
on?
better.
Yeah.
Like, the gameplay part of it's better. Like, the mission objectives are more varied. There's, I'm not going to spoil too much, but there's a lot of different situations that you get put in. I think my one complaint would be that you play as Locke and Team Osiris way too much. You probably play as...
Shades of the Arbiter.
What'd you say?
Shades of the Arbiter.
Yeah. How prophetic you are, Matt. I'm not gonna spoil something else about the game, but But anyway, I would say you play as Team Osiris way too much. You don't get to play as Chief and his crew of people as much as you should. It's not 50-50. I would say it's probably 60-40 Osiris over Blue Team. That bothers me. But it is more varied. There's a lot more interesting objectives to complete. It's not just flipping a switch. You do get to use like all the vehicles in the game, although they're like novelty. Like there's not enough like Halo in this campaign where you're like in big wide open spaces and like you're at the turret of the Warthog and you're flying around and there's all these vehicles from the Covenant. You know, there's like one mission where that happens. Like it's like
that was a problem with Halo 4 as well.
Yeah, it's this. I'll say one thing. This game is way closer to Halo 4 than it is to Halo 3-2-1. It is still, like, you still fight the same, like, 8 enemy types over and over and over again. I don't know why. I can't understand it. There's one boss that you literally fight, like, 14 times throughout the campaign. Like, why? Look, I get that there's, like, races in this game. And, like, the Prometheans are back again. So you have to do the whole thing where, like, they have, like, the drone that follows them around that provides a shield. And you have to shoot the drone first before you can shoot the Promethean. Like, in that way, it's just like Halo 4. But they have mixed up things a lot better. My other big complaint about it is that all the cool stuff you see, like that one trailer we saw that we showed as our trailer of the week, the 1 week, where they're, like, sliding down the hill. And, like, the coolest stuff in this game you don't do.
Well, isn't that what I said when we saw that trailer? I'm like, I mean, I know that looks really great, but like when you play it, you're just going to be playing Halo.
The whole game is like that, yeah. Like they show you these awesome cinemas. You're like, I want to do that. I don't want to watch this happen. Like I want to be the one in control of this, and like that happens all the way through the game. Like the game is gorgeous. You can see in the video we're showing, it's gorgeous. Runs like a like snot on a doorknob. I mean, the game, the engine is just beastly. And then they shove you into these pre-rendered cinemas. Like, the game looks so good, you don't need to do pre-rendered. It's like they ran out of time. And they're like, we don't have time to make these cutscenes in engine, so let's farm them out to some CG house. And so that's what they did. And so, honestly, I did not enjoy playing this campaign after the first, 4 hours. And to be honest with you, it was only about 7 hours long.
Wow.
It literally was, I think my time in the game said 6 hours and 40 minutes, but, it was actually a little longer than that. But, yeah, I did not enjoy the campaign. It's better than Halo 4's, but that's not saying much. I mean, I don't know what your impression was of Halo 4's campaign, but to me...
I didn't have one.
Really. Yeah, I mean...
I don't like fighting the Prometheans. I think they're just bullet sponge nonsense.
I mean, that's this game in a nutshell.
And, I don't remember anything about Halo 4. All I remember the beginning with the SHIELD world arrival, and I remember Cortana sacrificing herself, and...
Well, there was the Didact.
But I don't even...
The bad guy, the Didact? The guy that had, the crazy mask that would, transform and go over his face.
Oh, yeah, kind of. I didn't care.
Look, there's this whole...
There was nothing in Halo 4 that made me care about anything that happened in Halo 4.
There's this whole, Forerunner thing going on underneath the hood, but, it's so ambiguous and, I don't know, man. The other part of it, too, is that, all the characters are just, archetypes. There's, the wisecracking guy. There's the hard-ass. There's the smart girl.
How is it being, Chief as part of a team as opposed to a...
I hate it. The whole point of Master Chief is that he's the baddest MFer in the galaxy, and now all of a sudden he needs 3 schleps with him to get the job done.
See, that's interesting that you say that, because in the novels, the expanded universe, they go out of their way to establish that Master Chief is just really average.
Oh,
up for a Spartan. There were people who were the guys who were faster and they were better shots and they were tougher or stronger, but he was kind of everything.
He was the middle of the road.
He was middle of the road, and they actually allude to that in the opening monologue of Halo 3, where she says, why did I pick you? Because you were lucky. Basically, he's lucky.
See, I've never read a book. I've never read a comic for this. All I've done is play the video games.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, is...
But if you just play the games, you would definitely get the impression that he is the baddest motherfucker around.
He takes on entire races on his own and wins. And all of a sudden you need, these 3 people tagging along, and, the whole game, they're going AWOL against the USNC. But they rarely ever mention we're probably screwing ourselves by doing this. Every once in a while they're we're behind you all the way, Chief. this game is a pre-teen boy's wet dream. Like, that's the best way to put it. If you're an adult, you're going to laugh at the plot in this game. It's silly. There's no motivation for any of the stuff that happens. Like I said, after 4 hours of it, I was ready to quit. But I knew, obviously, I had to finish it for review because it was the same crap over and over. I was fighting the same enemies over and over. Once I had used all the vehicles, and, like, they're all, like I said, they're token implementation of the vehicles. Like, you get a vehicle and you use it for, like, the end section of a level. Or you went in and infiltrated this base, and then you get in, like, a ship and fly away. Like, there's no extended use of any of the vehicles in the campaign. Like, I don't know, man.
So, bit of a thumbs down on the campaign.
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all. And obviously, multiplayer, though, is why people buy Halo.
And you're more of a multiplayer guy.
I am. Like, look, I like campaigns, but for shooters, like, if I'm telling somebody whether they should buy a shooter or not, 95% of my recommendation is going to be based upon the multiplayer. And I enjoyed the multiplayer. I'll say one thing. I got my ass handed to me for the first week I played this game because we were playing with, like, all the testers from 343, and, like, you know, they've been playing the game for, like, 2 years. I'll never understand why publishers do this. Why they put journalists, when they're reviewing a game, into the servers with the testers. Like, it is insane.
Well, they do. I think they mostly do tell its testers to take it easy, but I feel like you don't even know what easy is at that point.
I mean, maybe they were taking it easy, but they were just mopping the floor with the journalists, dude. And, like, the other part of it, too, is, and look, this is just something that's inherent to Halo, is that Halo is all about the weapon you have. And this game is just like that. Like, when you spawn, you have, like, a battle rifle. And then the race is on to try to find the power weapons. And, like, these people have been playing the game for 2 years. So everybody spawns, they run and they get the rocket launcher. Or they run and get the sniper rifle. And you got your little pea shooter. And, look, again, that's just something that's inherent to Halo. That's the way it's always been. And it's a matter of, like, learning the maps, learning the places where the weapons are. And so in that way, it's the same. Now, they've added aiming down the sights. I don't feel like that's really sacrificed the Halo vibe at all. If anything, it's just kind of brought it to parity with every other game. Like,
especially because you get knocked out of it pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I should have mentioned about the campaign is that you can be revived.
Oh.
By your teammates.
By your teammates?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
you never die.
Little Republic Commando action.
I think when I finished the campaign, I had died 10 times total. Total. Through the whole campaign.
Would you play on normal? Or
normal. When I review games, I always play on normal because that's what most people play on. So I died 10 times through the whole game. And that was when I got hit by, like, a rocket. Like, that's the only way you die. Because otherwise, you get felled, and they just come and heal you. You hit, like, X or whatever, and it'll signal for them to come and heal you. So I should have mentioned that. And so multiplayer is broken up into, like, 2 sections. There's Arena, which is, like, classic Halo. And it has, like, Team Deathmatch and Capture the Flag and Capture and Hold variants and stuff like that. But it's, like...
It's smaller.
Small. It's like
4v4?
on 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is crazy. The maps are all puny.
No vehicles.
No. It's... Yeah. There's no, like...
It's not a complete Halo experience.
No. Like, all the base stuff that you would expect in a Halo game is not there. Like, there's no big team Slayer. Like, there's the Slayer 4 on 4. It's like... And look, they make the maps so that it works, but they're really small, and there's no vehicles, and, you know, if there were, it wouldn't work anyway, because the maps are too small to use a frickin' vehicle.
Like, if you're a Blood Gulch fan, there's nothing here.
Which, who isn't?
Right.
Like, hello! So, then the other part of it is Warzone, and Warzone is this weird, like, asymmetrical, like, team-based, like... I don't even know what the hell I was doing half the time, Matt. Like, honestly, it is so confusing how it works. There's this stuff called, like, Rex, where basically they're, like, card packs that you buy, and you can earn the currency by playing the game to buy the card packs, or, of course, you can spend real money to buy them.
Naturally.
And, of course, the more you spend, the better chance you have of getting rares, and there's, like, 3 different kinds of cards, like... One of them's like a burn card where you can use it once. It's like Titanfall. And there's
Forza 6.
Yeah. And
Microsoft's on a card kick right now.
And then you can get them, like, some are just like for cosmetics, for like what your soldier looks like. And some of them are like weapons. And so there's a whole strategy of like, well, I'm already losing this match, so I don't really want to use one of my rec cards. It's like, it's not balanced because, look, people can just all of a sudden have like a crazy freaking weapon. It's like...
So you can use them like on the fly.
Yeah.
Like, not when you just respawn.
Yeah, well, when you can do it when you respawn, and there's little like stations located around the maps where you can go and like
cash them in.
Yeah, and cash them in, and it just makes the whole thing like random. And I think that's just what my opinion was of this multiplayer in general. And Halo's always kind of been this way: is that it's just random. Like I don't feel like the better player wins or the best team wins. It's like, oh, that guy pulled out a rec card and now he's a rocket launcher, and I've got my freaking Magnum, like. And you go head to head with some guy who just used one of his rec cards, you're just dead. Like, I still had fun. That's the crazy part about it.
Did it improve or change for you when you started playing public servers, like after the game went live?
I mean, look, I only wanted to use public servers just to make sure, like, for latency and lag and make sure that matchmaking worked and all that kind of stuff. I played 4 or 5 hours on public servers just to check that stuff. I haven't really gone out in the wild and played with other people who were like level 3 or level 4 like I was. To see like if maybe I was better at the game when I played against people with equal skill level, and I still had fun with it. Like the Warzone, like there's objectives where like one team attacks like a base, the other team tries to defend it, and there's like a little bit of a MOBA vibe in there as well, like the way it works and like the roles that people are assigned, and it's different. But when I start thinking about a shooter that I want to play like long term, like I don't want it to be random, like. There's some fun in that, and it's like a good diversion, but when you start talking about, like, am I going to play this game for, like, 300 hours? I won't.
What about the mobility changes? Do they improve it, or is it just compared to, like, Black Ops or Call of Duty, it just doesn't
it didn't even really register with me, Matt, to be honest with you. Like, there's a cool, like, charge you can do, and, like, there's parts in the campaign where you have to, like, charge through, like, walls and stuff like that, so it kind of teaches you to use it through the campaign. But... you know, after playing, like, Advanced Warfare, or even playing the beta for Black Ops 3, it doesn't seem that fast. Like, it does have, like, Eternal Sprint, but, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just conditioned to playing shooters so fast now that it just didn't seem... It's a little faster than your typical Halo, but...
So would you... say someone was, like, a Halo fan, but they were let down by 4. Do you think this game will... fix that for them or change their mind? Like, what should they do?
I would say the campaign's a little better. Not great, but still a little better. I would say the story's worse. Story's worse. Playing the campaign's a little better. So maybe overall they're kind of on this equal footing. I would say multiplayer. I mean, look, eventually the big team modes are going to come. I think they said in like 2 months they're going to come. And I think it'll be a lot better then. I think
Merry Christmas. Here's the actual multiplayer.
Here's the actual game. And I think it's a travesty that it didn't launch with that stuff. And I think it may turn a lot of people off. I don't know if they're going to stick around. Because, look, Halo 4 had a good launch online. But a month later, it was crickets. And so, I don't know. Maybe it goes back to what you're saying about Assassin's Creed with Unity. Is like, maybe people are so burned, they pick this up and they're like, wait a minute. Like, where's the Halo? Halo multiplayer to me is... vehicles, driving around in a Warthog with 2 of your good buddies in the Warthog, one shooting out the side, the other at the turret, and you're driving around trying to run people over. Like, there's just none of that, like, in this. There's a little bit of it in the Warzone. You can see it here. We're showing it right now. Like, but look, it's like there's one ghost. Like, it just... Where's the Halo?
Chaos?
Yeah, you don't get that. And the other part, too, is I feel like they changed the physics on the vehicles. Like, they're way more, like, floaty and squirrely now. Like, they flip over so easy. And, like, the Warthogs don't even feel like they're attached to the ground. And, look, they've always been, like, slidey. You want them to be slidey. That's fun. Like, the power slidey,
bouncy, kind of, yeah.
But now, they're just, like, I don't know.
It's like playing Moon Rover?
It is. Yeah, it is. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Look, I had fun with the game. I've played it for a week and a half now. I don't know that I'll go back and play it much more after this. Maybe once all the other modes come out, I'll go back again and maybe see if now I'm having fun with it. But I would say overall, I'm pretty disappointed in Halo 5.
Wow.
And everyone will see my game eval. Although I pretty much just spilled my guts. You don't even have to read my game eval after watching this.
Well, now I know how loud to read it.
Yeah, exactly. I did do a little screaming. Hopefully the audio didn't just completely flatten out during that whole segment because I was yelling pretty loudly. But yeah, that's my opinion of Halo 5 at this point.
Right.
So
mine gets here Thursday, so I'm looking forward.
How
to
about
that.
this? How about when you get it, you let me know and I'll jump on and I'll try to show you the rest because I'm telling you, like Warzone is really. That's the thing I don't like about it is it's complicated. It takes a really long time to even understand what the hell's going on.
I think, like, I wonder if, like, obviously I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Hey, folks, start sending in your questions
start
now
asking
if you have any
questions,
questions
yeah.
that you want to ask.
But I wonder if, like, does Warzone have an added level of frustration to it in the sense that you that's your only option for sort of large scale Halo action in this game, and then you have this like kind of learning barrier of like how do I play this?
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
mean, I'm sure that's part of it.
I mean, there's got to be some frustration there.
It was frustrating, and like I said, I was also playing against testers, so
Right.
who are relentless. It's like, dude, I don't even know how to like what these Oh, I'm dead. Like, well, wait a minute. So there's like this level, but dead. Like. There is an element of that. And look, I've reviewed games long enough to kind of to be able to separate that frustration and understanding like, well, these guys have been playing it for 2 years and they're going to kick my ass and that's the way it is. But please just let me like get a loadout. Like, give me a chance. So,
looking through my cards.
Yeah.
You've activated my trap card. What are you doing?
And one thing I will say is that, you can spend real money to get rec cards, but the game does do a good job of giving you plenty for free. Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to get a lot of ultra rares for free. I think I got like one out of all the ones I earned.
Just enough so
you know that you can get them.
Just enough to let you see what you're missing.
Right, exactly. But it's not like if you're not paying money, you're like deprived of rec cards. Like I have, right now I have like dozens and dozens of them, and some of them are like for vehicles, and there's some for weapons, and there's different levels of them, and like how it works is during matches, like. The announcer will be like, level 3 rec cards now available. So it alerts you to says, okay, now I can use like a launcher, or now I can use a Warthog or whatever. Okay.
So they're clearly trying to like escalate the game as it goes on.
Yep.
But
for sure.
You don't feel like they're just hitting that fever pitch that Halo kind of is defined.
Well, I mean, in the end, it just comes down to the action.
Right.
Like either the action is there or it isn't. And to me, the Halo action is not there. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I mean, again, they're going to put out all those modes that everybody wants to play. Why they would not put those in at launch? See, to me, you put in the base modes first, and then you release, like, the Warzone stuff later. Like, make sure the fans are really happy at first, and then say, hey, check out this other mode we've been working on. We're having fun with it, in the studio.
You know how everything works. You know how it's fun.
Yeah, now that you know, exactly. Now that you've mastered all the new weapons that are in the game, and you've got used to the new physics of the vehicles, like, now try this new asymmetrical thing that we got with these crazy card packs, and like, I feel like people would be a lot more open to accepting it if they had done it in that order instead of doing it in reverse. And again, like, they lost some fans with Halo 4. Like, there's a lot of people who played Halo 4 that were like, this isn't Halo anymore. I don't like it.
Well,
and they left. And so you want to ingratiate your new game to those people, not alienate those people right out of the gate.
I just wonder if there's an element of like, well, we could introduce Warzone later, but then that means introducing microtransactions later, and people don't react to that well.
Or maybe just get rid of the frickin' microtransactions.
Now you're talking crazy.
All right, let's see if we got any questions here. Let's see. Couldn't agree more on Halo 5 from the JBone29. Matthew, what's your most anticipated game of the fall? I think we've answered that before. Fallout for me.
Probably. I can't decide between Fallout and Battlefront. Probably Fallout at this point because I played the beta Battlefront, so I like kind of know what I'm getting there. Whereas like Fallout's still this giant question mark.
Yeah. Dogface Pig, what time will Pactor Factor go up on Saturday? Probably noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. Life is Strange got a 5 from Shane. I'm guessing this game will get like a 4. That's from Dragon Slayer 91, I believe. Why am I watching this stream? Because I gave Life is Strange a 5. That's Dyson XP. Dyson, you should look at the explanation for our game evals, and maybe you'll understand. Like, a 5 is not a bad score on Sifted. You got to forget about everyone else's weird, like, 7-10 scoring system. We do not go by that. 5 is average for us. And we also... Anyway, if you look at the Life is Strange review, there's a little link at the very bottom that goes to a page that explains our game evals. Click on that, and after you read that, I think you might understand a little more. Let's see... Any plans on posting a weekly schedule? Do you mean for like streams and stuff like that? Yes, somebody suggested that in the comments of one of the articles on Sifted. That is definitely something we're looking into doing. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's a good one. From the Lord X. With Detroit and GT Sport being announced today, what do you expect Sony to reveal at PSX this year?
I don't know. Maybe nothing.
Well, I think
maybe just like more details on what they've already shown.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, they maybe will announce a game.
Yeah.
But I think probably what we're going to see is a brand new demo for Uncharted 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe another demo for The Last Guardian. It'll be kind of due. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe a release date for The Last Guardian.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, too, if they do another big focus on VR.
Yeah.
It is a huge bet for them. And
maybe a price.
Maybe. I mean, look, they're going to start shoving PlayStation VR down our throats, people. Like, it's coming. Like, they have to. This is a huge bet for them. They've dumped a ton of money into it.
Later GDC. GDC is going to be like VR.
GDC
has always had a VR
anyway.
thing anyway, but yeah, I think PlayStation and Oculus are going to rule GDC in a VR way this time.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't count on any big announcements at PSX this year, to be honest with you.
I think the PSX is going to be more of like a, hey, let's let the fans touch what we've been talking about all year.
That's probably pretty good. Let's see. What else do we got here? Most anticipated game for 2016.
No Man's Sky.
From Vox91.
No Man's Sky.
For me, it's Zelda U.
We'll see if that comes out next year.
Man can hope.
We'll see if it's still on the Wii U.
Let's see.
I did buy an amiibo today, though. The Mario Maker pixelated Mario amiibo. I found that at Best Buy today, so I bought that.
Let's see. Favorite game so far of Paris Game Week? We kind of talked about that already.
Yeah, I mean, I think Robinson, of the new stuff, Robinson is the thing that caught my attention most because I'm a dinosaur nerd, but Wild is up there, too.
Wild for me, definitely, without a doubt. Let's see.
Dreams. I really liked... I don't really understand it yet, but...
I don't understand it either. Even after that demo, I still...
No, but I like what I see, and I like Media Molecule. I trust those guys to make something amazingly cool, even if it's not something I quite understand.
Yep. Shane, which Life is Strange ending did you pick? I don't know if I want to spoil the end of that game for everybody.
I haven't even played the game yet. So.
Yeah.
I was waiting for all the episodes.
Let's see if I can frame it in a way that nobody will know what I'm talking about except for people who have played it.
Don't trust the smiling penguin.
I'll put it this way. I hooked up my best friend. That's what I did. Let's see, one more.
I'm picturing you connecting a dog to a TV with an HDMI cable.
That question was from Netflix, I believe. One last question. Are mods going to be enrolled in the forums beta automatically, or do we need to ask to join too? Ask to join, just to be safe. And again, anyone who wants to be involved in the beta for our forums, just leave your request in the comments for this episode. All right. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around till the end of the show. I know it's late for a lot of you. Hell, it's late on the West Coast right now. Anyone in Europe, you're godlike. Thank you so much. Some people may have got up for work and watched the show in Europe, actually. It may have lapped all the way around to where they were...
some people may be listening to this on their commute.
Right. Or having their morning coffee or whatever. So if that's the case, good morning to you. But as always, thanks for tuning into the live stream. We appreciate it. It's always good to have feedback and Q&A at the end of the show. Everybody look out for Pactor Factor on Saturday. Really excited to roll that out. Everybody have an excellent evening. GameFace is up and out.